Hi, Elise. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hey,
And thank you
Sam.
so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about the best lead generation tactic that most advisors aren't doing, which is webinars. And specifically, we're going to talk today about how to create webinars that wow. Nice play on words there. But we think we have some really great ideas for you. And hopefully, you'll all walk away with at least one or two new ideas for either getting started with webinars if you've never hosted one before, or if you have, but maybe you're having a hard time getting more people to come or not sure what else to talk about content-wise, some ideas for that. So whether you're new to webinars or you're just trying to sort of level up your game, there will be something for you today. So while we're just waiting for everyone to sign in here, actually, that would be a great way to kick us off. We really want this to be engaging and as helpful to all of you as possible. So in the chat, tell us, have you ever hosted a webinar before? And maybe even, do you host them all the time, or have you only ever hosted one? And what's your success been so far with it? Has it been something that's working for you? Or maybe not so much and you quit already, which I've seen happen for people.
Oh my
So
gosh, I'm
what?
looking at the chat and it's so cool. We have so many people that have never done it before. And so
Yay.
what a great opportunity for us to talk about today. I laugh, our webinar on webinars.
That's right. It's like I said, it's very meta. That's really good. Okay, I love seeing how many people have never held one, just like you said, but there are a
Yeah.
couple people who are saying, yes, they've had a few, some have been really successful. And other people said, I hosted one 4 years ago and then I quit. So I love that, right? We've all had that experience in life with something. We tried it once, it didn't work, and we quit. And I actually love the other one from Eli Weissman. I hope I'm saying your name right, who said, I've hosted 3 webinars so far and I haven't had any traction yet. Yet being the key word, right? Growth mindset. We all are going to be in this together. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. And there really is a reason why we want to talk about them today, because they are actually such an amazing tool for lead generation. So let's really get into it. And if you do have specific questions that you don't want to get buried in the chat, please drop them in the Q&A and Elise and I can see all of them. But if you have something you want to share with the whole crew here, our whole community, that would go into the chat. Okay. So one thing I just want to make sure you all know, anyone who signed up for today, we put together this awesome webinar success checklist that you will be getting in your inbox that really just sums up everything we're going to go over into one concise document. So look out for that after today's session is over. I'm so excited to be back with you all after an 8-month hiatus. I'm Samantha Russell, the Chief Evangelist at FMG. And if we are not connected on social media, I'd love to connect with you there. I previously was on the founding team of 20 over 10. And at that company, really the way that we grew over a 5-year period, primarily in the beginning, was from webinars, because we had very limited marketing budget. So I've been doing webinars 3 to 4 times a month for just about 7 years at this point now. So I'm happy to answer any and all questions that, will hopefully help all of you. Okay, Elise, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, Elise Lambert here, Director of Enterprise and Product Marketing at FMG. And prior to my life at FMG, I actually used FMG. So I've been an advisor, I've been a director of marketing, and so I've been in your shoes as far as trying to utilize webinars as a tool, and more importantly, how to get them rocking and rolling. And there's a lot of pieces, but I think the most important piece that we can take away today is it starts with one. It's just starting and going with it, giving yourself permission just to start.
Yeah.
So excited to be here alongside you, Samantha, and also everyone on the call. Thank you.
Yes, and I
Excited to
already see
see
some
so many
familiar names.
faces.
Hi to Ronnie. Ronnie, that's so nice of you to say. Thank
Hello,
you.
everyone.
Yes, hello. So I just wanted to start with a success story right out of the gate, because I think starting with a story is so important. And this is something I'm going to encourage all of you to do when you host a webinar. Obviously, you can't always start with a success story, but you can use storytelling so much to really hook people in. So This is a friend, acquaintance of mine. We've been in the conference circuit many times together, Isaac with Cordant Wealth. And he and I actually spoke on a panel about webinars just last summer. And these are some of the things I learned that have worked for his business. So we're going to use him kind of as our case study throughout today's session. But over the last 18 to 24 months, he has hosted multiple webinars. And over all of his webinars, he's had about 1,000 people that have registered. Of those 1,000 that registered, about 40% attended. And then you can see about 8 to 10% actually reached out. And what I mean by reached out is took him up on his offer to have a conversation post webinar to see if his team would be a good fit in working with them as their advisor. From that, 8 to 10%, he actually has added 9 new client households and about 11 million in AUM. And all he spent in that time on this particular lead gen effort was $12,000 on ads to promote his webinars on LinkedIn. Obviously there's the time value of money of your time to put the, webinar on and prepare the decks. But if you're looking at just, total spend, that's what he spent. So I think this is such a great example of, how this really can work in real life. And I'm going to share some of the things that he has shared with me of why it really was working so well for him and his firm and kind of the mistakes he learned up front and then how he was able to pivot along the way. If you really want to hear a lot more about his particular case, beyond just what we're going to share today, I did link down in the bottom. You can see there under source to a podcast with Altruist, where he talks all about it and gets into the nitty gritty, but I am going to share more specifically from him as a case study today. So if you want to listen to that podcast, feel free to do that. Okay. So one of the things that I just wanted to start with is that for so many of you who've never hosted a webinar, if I talk to you about kind of what you're doing currently for lead gen, many of you will say, if I could just get someone to sit down with me and have a conversation, I have no problem closing the deal if they're a good fit and I'm excited about working with them. The issue is getting in front of those people, getting them to spend an hour talking with me. Think of a webinar as your secret to getting in front of so many more people. It's really a chance for you to show off your expertise and to have somebody be wowed by all of your experience and knowledge specific to how you can help people like them, right? And we don't want you to just take our word for it. There have been multiple studies from Michael Kitces, other industry players. This is the latest one from Nitrogen, previously Riskalyze, about the fact that the highest converting marketing activity, whether in this one from Nitrogen, you can see they broke it down, even the hyper growth firms to the slow growth firms. Overall, the number one highest converting is events, and specifically in the subset of events is webinars. And, the amount of cost that it takes to put these on can be zero, so it's in terms of the barrier to getting started, hopefully we'll convince you today to give it a try.
And Sam, I just wanted to add, look, thinking about cost, we've all done the dinners before where you have all the plate liquors and you spend hundreds of dollars and, all you're left is like a big bill and maybe some leftovers. And so the fact that you can do this at zero cost is incredible. And the fact that webinars are so important. And we've seen this uptick. And I think it's because people really are looking for community and that sense of community and being a part of something and having that direct connection with the bellwether, their financial professional is huge.
Oh, 100%. And this was so shocking to me. I think it was shocking to everyone on our team. So FMG did a research study with wealthmanagement.com's research arm, Wealth Management IQ. And we found that only 23% of advisors currently are doing webinars, which I think, we reiterated today with how many people said, no, they've never done one before. If you wouldn't mind, in the chat, can you tell us why you've never hosted one before? Are you intimidated by public speaking? Are you nervous about just how it all works with the technology? Do you not know what content to share? Are you worried about getting butts in the seat? Like, what is the thing that has been limiting you from getting started? I would love to know, and then we can spend a little bit more time addressing that as we go through today's session. So let's see. Wow, you guys are awesome. So many good responses coming in. I see a lot about not knowing how to get people to show up, being worried about speaking to an empty room, or
All the
knowing what
above.
content people want. What else do you see, Elise? They're coming in so fast. I'm having a hard time
I know
reading them.
all of the above. Compliance, that's another, hurdle that we see a lot. Fear of empty room.
I think this is
remember,
my favorite response from Drew Stotler. Hopefully
what
I'm
is
not
it?
butchering your name. It works so well, I stopped doing it. So Drew, welcome back. Maybe you're ready to start back up. You should give us some of your tips. But that's a common sentiment I've heard from people. Once you get the machine running, it does work so well that it can be difficult. This is interesting from Cameron. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, Bernatsky. Cameron said, too easy for people not to show up. And this is something I've heard before. One thing I just want to remind you is even if no one came, you have spent an hour putting together an educational session that is recorded, that you can put on your website as a piece of content that now anytime anyone lands on your website, they get to hear from you and watch you in action, delivering expertise, right? It's just a way for them to get to know you and how good you are in this particular area. And I have some examples in our slide deck today that you can go and watch other advisors webinar replays. So hopefully it'll give you some more examples. But, even going back to that, first slide that we had with Isaac with Cordant Wealth, he only had 10 people show up for the very first one. Don't let, just a few people showing up stop you from keep going. Cause I can tell you that's what happened to me. The very first one I did, I was just telling Elise, I think we maybe had 15 people come. And it's easy to get nervous. And I remember distinctly, I started 5 minutes early and I didn't realize people usually arrive like right on time. And so I just started talking to an empty room and pretended like there were people there. And that's what I would really encourage you to do. Even if you only had 2 people register, just talk as though there's a room full of people, because nobody can really see, depending on what software you use. And who cares, right? This is going to live on in prosperity when you post it digitally. Okay. So we're going to start with the who, what, when, where, how. I just wanted to, again, give you some examples that you could go look up. This is JCL Financial Group. They're a client of ours. And they have this events page. You can see some examples of how they, after the webinar is over, put the replays up on their page with a nice little visual. I do recommend, if you take the time to create a visual using a tool like Canva, it's really great because it makes it easy. And Elise, you're shaking your head. Yes, I don't know if you have any other, any other tips on that.
If you're not using Canva already, highly suggest it. It turns anyone into a graphic designer in seconds. And so you don't have to use all the fancy Photoshop. You can drag and drop. And so you can use it for images, for social, for your video, for your webinar, lots of different use cases. And I'm thinking maybe we should do a webinar in the future on Canva, as I'm thinking out loud. A lot of opportunity there.
Yes, that's so great. And, people are already asking about, again, with content. One of the things that I think is easy for all of us to forget is that for the average person, they are not, this financial literacy is not a part of their everyday lives. They're not thinking about, even somebody, who's very well educated, they're thinking, I'll deal with Social Security when the time comes. And then a year, 6 months before, couple years before they need Social Security, or they don't need it, but it's going to be a part of their income. All of a sudden they're like, oh, crap, I don't know anything about it. And so it's really basic topics often can be the best ones to get a lot of people in the seat. One thing to remember when you're choosing a topic is to choose one that is going to have the most audience interest combined with being aligned with your business goals. I'm somebody who can get shiny object syndrome, oh, this is like a popular thing happening in society right now. We should talk about this or that, and somehow tie it in, on the periphery to what we do. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to do these webinars and sustain them. You obviously want people to become a client. So keeping in mind that it's something you're passionate about and it's going to align with your business goals. So again, using that JCL Financial Group as an example on the Social Security one, you can see here, they they had their event page through FMG. We make it really easy to set up these event pages. If you're a customer and you haven't checked this out, Elise is going to actually show you shortly here how we can do that. But you can pick a topic, and then on your landing page, you want to really get descriptive in why someone should attend your webinar. Like, what is going to entice them to come? Who should be there? What are they going to get out of it? What kind of questions are you going to get answered? And bullet points are great because people can just quickly scan and see if it's a good fit. And then once the webinar is over, you can just embed the video right on that page there. And at least in a minute is going to, again, show us some different ways to do that. But Social Security, taxes, Medicare, any kind of current events like legislation and how it relates to retirement, those are always going to be popular topics.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already getting a lot of questions about the slides. Yes, you will all get the slides as well. One thing I did just want to point out, I've posted this multiple times, but it always is so fascinating to me. If you're thinking about what topics people, are interested in, this is a great chart here from the Spectrum Group. And they surveyed people about what do they get from their financial advisor service-wise versus what they expected to get. And so, if you chose 12 of these topics that, not just the financial planning and the wealth management, but trusts, long-term care, loan and credit, management, life insurance, educational advice, business planning, and made one, a separate topic for every month, that right there could be a whole year of webinars. Now, obviously, to get the biggest bang for your buck, the more niched you are, the better it's going to be. But I think just kind of keeping in mind maybe where other clients of other advisors even are feeling frustrated, right? They have an advisor who's not providing them with some of these. If you offer any kind of tax planning or advice, that could be great to do a webinar on because somebody could be currently in a relationship with an advisor and not getting that.
Okay, so that reminds me of a story of an old advisor I used to work with. And he said, one of my favorite things that I get to provide for my clients is something that I don't do. And it's, I offer them my car guy. I have the best car guy, but how can I continue to create value for them? And sometimes it's as simple as they know that they can call me looking for a specific service or whatever, and I'm able to refer them to, something as simple as my car guy. So thinking outside the box even, and how you can create that value for them and be able to extend your services beyond just the normal financial stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Joanne, who's an amazing Medicare expert and has a huge TikTok page. Actually, Joanne, you have to share it for everybody because I think you're one of the few people I know doing that and doing it so well. Said Medicare is a huge draw, and I can vouch for that. So absolutely, when it comes to topics, there's so many different things that you can cover. I just wanted to say, no matter what topic you pick, one of my biggest pieces of advice is to use stories to draw people in, because at the end of the day, going through facts and figures, for a lot of people, they can only absorb so much. So this is a great example. Again, I linked to it, of a client of ours who he started off the webinar by giving a little scenario and asking people to kind of guess what would happen and what would be the best path that would lead to the best financial outcome. So I love this, it makes it really interactive and fun for the audience as well. And I just wanted to share kind of what it looked like on the page. So, you have the logo on the left. He has it listed under retirement resources. Again, you could call it whatever you want. It could be an events page, a webinars page. And then when you click on that, it shows you all his past and upcoming webinars. Okay, before we get into some of like the best time of day and things like that, I just wanted to go through a couple things that came in the chat. I saw somebody talking about inviting a subject matter expert to co-present with you. And is that a good idea? And I thought that I had a slide on that. Let me just see. Yes, there we go. Sorry, I skipped right by it. This will be on your checklist as a list of ideas, but partnering with a subject matter expert is one of the best ways to really maximize how often you can do these, because again, it's going to allow you to have much more minimal prep if you're sharing the stage with someone else and you're both going to be talking. Additionally, you obviously can't do all of these things and specialize in all of them, but if clients would like to learn about them, it's really helpful. And then finally, best part, you're tapping into their network, right? So an example, there's an advisor I know who really helps widows and people who are going through grief in that part of their life. And so he is paired up with different folks that would be helpful to people in that part of their life. And they kind of split it up. So in the session, they can talk about things like more of the psychology behind grieving, and then also how it relates to making, big financial decisions with your money at that time. So that's, one great example. We've seen so many people do ones obviously on tax, and that's always a big draw, inviting a CPA if you don't have one on your staff, or, something like that to come. Another huge one is, am I losing it? The estate planning attorneys, if you have, especially with wealthier clients and you already have a great relationship with an estate planning attorney, hosting one and inviting them to come and join. I think the main thing is it shouldn't be that it's all about getting them business or just getting you business. You really want to share the stage with them. And, a couple tips there. Make sure that ahead of time, you both are on the same page, right? So how long are each of us going to speak? Make sure you do a run through with them. We've made the mistake, right, Elise, of inviting people and, they are really long-winded and we only get through 3 slides because they're taking so long to answer those questions. So doing a practice session ahead of time is really important.
Really important. I've even seen some really fun ones too. Like I've seen people do a wine tasting webinar where they bring on a sommelier, or even like a fitness instructor or nutritionist. Now's the time for the new year with resolutions. Great time to also utilize other professionals outside the financial realm as well.
Yes. And I think one of the things to remember where a lot of people get tripped up is they don't invite current clients to their webinars. They just do it as a prospect tool.
Mhm.
And if I can encourage you, whenever you host one, to try to think, what is a topic that would help my clients, but also be something they would even be interested in forwarding on to a friend or family member, right? So, if you can think of a topic that is going to be so helpful that you send it to your clients and you say, oh, and if, you have anybody else, that this would benefit from coming, it's a webinar, so we can have as many people as we want. Feel free to pass it on. How much easier is it to ask someone to do that than to just refer you to a friend or a family member? It makes it a really low barrier way to get your name out there in more circles, right? So I highly, highly suggest inviting clients and not just thinking of it as I have to have a separate one for prospects, then clients.
I would love to see in the chat some of the top topics that you guys have covered, or professionals that you guys have invited. So in the chat, would love to see, and that's going to give our community some really fun ideas too.
Yes, please do that. We already saw one. Somebody just said the most successful webinars during the ones they host around open enrollment, about Medicare and the marketplace.
Oh, cool.
So that would
Financial
be good.
fitness, new year, new you. Love that.
Loan forgiveness and estate planning, LTC and LTC specialist, long-term care, donor advised funds. That's a great one. Definitely.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, a
Body
body
language
language expert.
from the FBI. Wow, I love that.
Very cool.
So many good ones. So Adam's asking, would you recommend creating YouTube and Instagram or social media shorts to share after the fact? And yes, we do. And I will get into that in just a minute when we talk post webinar. So I'll go through this quick because honestly, this is all going to base on your personal preference. If you go back though, and you listen to that interview that I had posted earlier with Isaac from Cordant Wealth, he talks about like all the mistakes he made early, kind of complicating things. So instead of just using Zoom, which all his clients already use, they know, he knows, he tried using this thing called Easy Webinar. And not to knock that, some of you might use it and think it's great, but for him, having to learn a new platform, send an invite out, and then maybe people have to use a new software they're not familiar with, it wasn't as easy as successful as just using Zoom. So again, use what is going to be easiest for you. You can see Elise and I right now, neither of us are using a fancy background. Neither of us have headphones or a fancy microphone. I'm just using my Mac and what's included. I'm sure the sound would be so much crisper if I put headphones in and did a nice fancy microphone. But again, what I have found from years of doing this is that the lower the bar of setup, the easier it's going to be to keep doing it. And at the end of the day, it's not, a massive difference in quality. We're not trying to be the most, popular channel on YouTube or posting this and, having a huge podcast channel from it. So the audio and the visual quality don't need to be like professional NPR level.
Yeah, I always say it doesn't need to be like Steven Spielberg, just do it. I think that
Yes.
was one of my biggest barriers of entry early on was, oh no, I forgot my ring light. I can't do my video today. No, it doesn't work like that.
No,
Just jump on.
I'm sitting right in front of an open window. I always think that gives the best natural light's the best if you can get it. So, so great. And then in terms of the best time and day, people ask this all the time. Again, it depends your audience. For us, we have found that it aligns. This is from Live Webinar. They have found that around 11 p.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Eastern, is the time where you'll get the highest number of people live to come, right? And of course, we don't just want people to sign up. We want them to come live. So we have found this to be true as well. So we do it around that time. But again, you should think about that and think about which one is going to be best for you.
Yeah, I always thought about that. Like if you're doing stuff for doctors, we know that, for example, doctors have time on Fridays because they don't always operate, or think about who that target audience is to really define that best time. Sometimes it's after hours or sometimes it's during lunch. So just thinking about your target audience is so important.
Yes, 100%. So what's the best way to get registrants? I think you're all going to know this is true, but email hands down is the best way. I would love to know in the chat for all of you, did you sign up from this from a link from email? Was it a post somebody put, was it from Twitter or LinkedIn, social media somewhere? I would love to know because, typically it is going to be email. Unless again, some advisors we work with do have large social media followings. And if that's the case, then you can get more traction with social, or if you're running ads, but typically it will be email. And what I love about email is that, again, you can ask, clients specifically to then forward it on to friends or family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we are seeing a lot of LinkedIn. Well, I'm glad.
LinkedIn, yeah.
I'm glad we're seeing so many LinkedIn because we actually just recently in the last year, we started doing this, and Isaac from Cordon Wealth started doing this. You can actually create an event on LinkedIn now and make it so that people can directly register from LinkedIn. And what's really great about it is that you can also directly invite people from LinkedIn. So if you're specifically working with employees of Microsoft, you might be connected to hundreds of them, right? And then you decide to host a webinar specific to employees of Microsoft. You can invite them. You can filter by, company, Microsoft, and then invite them all. It will still end up going to Zoom. So you could still, let's say you're hosting it on Zoom, you'll still host it on Zoom, but you're inviting them through LinkedIn. And it makes it really easy to filter and sort for people you don't yet have an email address for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is just a reminder, when you are emailing, don't email once and expect to get a great number. The number of times you email will directly correlate to how many people actually come up, register. And usually 3 to 4 emails is the sweet spot in terms of how many people you'll get. We do 3. So 3 is so that you're not, beating them over the head with it, but at the same time, you're getting the highest turnout. And we find, don't promote it too far in advance, like a month before, right, Elise? People are not thinking about what they're going to do in a month about learning educational topics. It really, just a week or 2 before is the earliest out you need to start inviting.
And we get a lot of questions about email etiquette and how many times I should email and how far in advance and all that. And I always use myself as kind of my gauge and be like, okay, what would I like to receive, right? I know I need a reminder an hour before. I know I need something probably a week out to make sure it's on my calendar, and then something, a little bit farther advanced to keep it top of mind. So use yourself as a kind of a gauge of what to expect and what you would want to receive as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to all the content, one of the most overwhelming parts can be creating the slides. So Elise, what I think I'll do right now as we'll look at some of the questions, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen, And
Awesome.
have you just pull up for everybody who's using FMG. We just want to show you quick that there already are resources in your content library that make it really easy to get started.
Awesome. And
because before you start emailing people, you need to have an event page set up. You need to have the content that you're going to talk about. I will say though, if you are going to invite a subject matter expert to join you and you don't want to have, 30 slides, it's fine to just have a few slides and talk, as long as you keep it engaging and educational. So again, don't let perfect be the enemy of good and done, but this is really helpful.
Yeah. So when you come to the content library, so when you log into your FMG dashboard, this is where we can jump in and see all the different types of content that you guys are used to seeing. But where we're going to spend some time is downloadables. So this is important because we have different types of content for almost any topic or any target audience. And we have, like Samantha was saying, made it really easy, because I think that's one of the fears is, man, putting together a presentation, the invitations, getting it approved, dealing with compliance, jumping through those hoops, right? That can be a lot of pieces. And now it's tied up in a package with a bow right here for you. So if I come to the content library and I scroll through here, we can see all the different types of downloadable content, but we want to talk about some of our event kits in presentations specifically. So we'll jump to presentations first, and then I'm going to go to an event kit. But in here, we have presentations on a halftime report, right? This is a great thing to do halfway through the year, give a great economic overview. We have tax strategies. We have our 2023 tax strategies event kit and presentation coming out. Wealth management 101, some other really neat topics, right? A look inside at retirement living, keys to investing for retirement, 5 smart investing strategies. So a lot of different topics that you could probably pull from that will speak to some of your audience. Just scrolling through here, long-term care protection, managing your lifestyle. And there's a couple other pages. So you have FMG, log in, check out and see what we have coming out. We have some new ones coming out at the end of the month too. So our 2024 State of the Markets presentation, and that is hot off the press, coming to you live at the end of the month. So that's exciting. So that's a presentation. Yeah.
I want to just say too, so people know this, because I didn't know this until not that long ago, actually. If you just cursory look at this, you could be like, oh, it's just slides. But when you actually go and download them, there's even talking points and scripts in there for you. So if you have a fear really of, I don't know how to say this, I definitely don't suggest you read the script verbatim, right? You want it to be interactive, but it really helps just to give you those, key points and takeaways to get started. And if you want to create, obviously, your own slide and then upload it after the fact to a blog or a blog page or an events page, Elise is going to show us how you do that too. But these pre-made ones can make it easy to get started.
Awesome. So I just downloaded this, and it's kind of small to see, but when you download that event kit, it has the presentation, and in that presentation, you can actually add your logo to it, and you can update all of these great assets yourself. And so, for example, here is an invitation that comes with that. And here I can add my exact day and time. I can add my name of my organization. And here is an invitation, and it comes with that presentation. You slap your logo in there. It looks really professional. Those talking points are there. And those talking points are great because then you can take this presentation, you can break it into blog posts, social media posts, smaller video snippets, a lot of really great things that you can do with all of these.
Oh, you know what, Elise, sorry, I was answering a question. We can't see the download. I think you have to reshare it.
Let me reshare.
Right, thanks everybody for reminding
me. It was everyone chiming in saying, hey, what the heck?
Yeah.
So let me do
another questions and saw that.
All right. And here we go. Resharing. All right, so now you can see my colorful screen. And this is an example of, all right, everyone can see. So this is an invitation that I downloaded from the content library for the State of the Markets presentation. I can easily come in here, add my day and time. Oh, here, add my day and time, add the name of your organization or yourself, and then you can send this out easily. So this is just an example of an invitation that comes with one of those presentations. But also in here, so you can see my folder, I downloaded one of these. So this is, again, very small, but
And I just have to remind people, if you don't want to worry about learning Canva, we talked about that earlier. Those graphics are great to make as the cover art for your LinkedIn post, or, if you're going to do a LinkedIn event, like we mentioned. And I saw some people having questions about that. So we'll show a couple more examples, but you can easily use those graphics that we create and, make it part of what you're posting, and without ever having to touch Canva.
absolutely, it makes it so easy. And we have instructions as well. So instructions on how to utilize this and how to do that. So within within the content library, you can check out the presentations and those event kits. So you can download that presentation, the invite, and all of that. And then do we want to go into events, or do you want to keep jumping around to on the slide deck?
Why don't, while we're in here, we show people
Awesome.
where, because I did talk about on your website, if you're going to start doing webinars regularly, listing both the past webinars and your upcoming in one place. What we love about that is when you get somebody there to register, they can look at other events you've already held, kind of get a flavor for what topics and content that you have expertise in or are talking about. Maybe there's another event they can sign up for. So keeping them all in one place, I think, is great. And then if you want to take it a step further and embed, the webinar replay and make it its own separate blog post, you could always do that. But yeah, let's show people what that looks like.
Awesome. So here is my fake website that I have, and I come to my About section. So again, you can put this under Resource Center, you can put it under Tools, wherever you think it would make sense on your website. And I'm going to come in here and we're going to start with events. So within the events dashboard in FMG, you can host all of your upcoming events, and you can see past events. This is a great place to see what you have going on. So this is my current events. I have a virtual webinar, my State of the Markets 2024, and this is where I can easily come and register for this event. So I come and hit register, and it's going to bring up a really beautiful registration page that I've linked to Zoom, because this is a virtual webinar, and I've added bullet points because, again, we want to make it really easy for them to read so they can see all of that. I've even added some emojis in here to catch their attention. So that is where we can see the upcoming events and, of course, past events. And we've talked about how we can add those videos as a blog. So I'm just going to walk down this menu. So these are our current events. We have our blogs where we can post our past blogs, whether you're posting videos. So here it is, my State of the Markets 2024. I created my own graphic in Canva and uploaded it. And then I've created my blog post. You can now embed these videos or the replays of your webinars into the blog post, and then you can easily write out your blog right here, utilizing different headers to call out different important points, changing up the font a little bit, some bold and some regular text, in all different places. And in the dashboard, you can very easily share these blog posts and these videos and the webinar replays by hitting the promote button.
And I just want to mention, one of the reasons to turn these into a blog is if you're taking 30, 40 minutes to create a presentation, have a great slide deck, have all this content, you have such great keywords now that from an SEO, search engine optimization purpose, if somebody really goes to look up a topic and you take this webinar and you add it as a blog, you have such a better chance for them to find your website, right? So one of the things you can do is, just copy and paste the transcript of what you talked about and put it under the replay. And now all those keywords that were mentioned can be there. Compliance usually, people were asking about compliance. Sometimes compliance will want to see the webinar, or the script, if you will. So once you record it, you can also get the transcript that way, making it really easy before you repost it.
And another thing that compliance loves is because if you're utilizing one of our presentations, it's been pre-approved. And if you're using those meeting notes, they like that even more because they can see that. And so that is definitely a plus to utilizing those notes. And that way you don't have to come up with everything, right? So you're not having to think of everything off the cusp, but you can just read it and you are ready to go. So we talked about our live events, the upcoming events, how to blog. We can also create a specific page on our website where we can host our videos and our webinars and have them live there forever. And so here I've just created a quick page to give you guys some ideas. So a little blurb about what you can find on this webpage. I have a link to the YouTube page, or maybe you can link it to your podcast page if you turn into a podcast, or you can link it to a Wistia account, and then you can embed these videos here. And then again, give that little 2 cents on what it's about down below. And then you can add on to this page as you go and as you start to create more webinars and videos.
Love that. And I just want to mention, because I don't think we have it on these examples that Elise whipped up for us real quick. When you are creating, putting your webinars up there as a replay, it never hurts to add a call to action at the bottom. Yes. Right. So somebody's going to take the time to watch it and you're doing something about retirement planning and thinking about Medicare and how it all works together, putting a call to action at the bottom. Does this feel overwhelming to you after you watch this webinar? Do you still have questions? Reach out to our team to schedule a free consultation, right? So not forgetting to add a call to action after you post the replay is really crucial, making it easy for someone to just click a button and either schedule time on your calendar or shoot you a quick email.
Yeah, add that form or even those pop-ups we have. So you can easily add a pop-up to have them sign up for your newsletter or to schedule an appointment. All right, okay. So that is some ways that we can incorporate it. Now let's look at the events page. And where we can host it on our dashboard. And Sam, anything you want to cover before that?
No, I was just going to say, awesome. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. I see some other questions. There's a few things that I promise we will, if you stick around till the end, we'll get to as many questions as we can.
Absolutely. This is something we're so passionate about. We could talk, I feel like, for hours on this and how to do webinars and how to share them, but you can easily create your webinars in our events template. So come in here, create a new event. We have templates that you can choose from. Let's look at one that I've already created. It's our virtual webinar for our State of the Markets 2024. And I've come in here, I have added all of my important information, everything I want them to see. And I am linking this to a Zoom registration page as well. So I've created my custom header, but let's preview what that registration page looks like. So you can come in here. This is a URL that you can share with your clients, that you can share on social, but here it is, picture, where they can register, all the important details of why they should attend, what they're going to get out of attending, encouraging them to invite someone as well to share it with someone that they think would find value here. And then you hit register.
And I just have to say again, calling out, if you saw how she has it set up with emojis kind of breaking up so that your eye can scan it, a big block of text is not enticing for someone to read. But, being able to just quickly look, even if we don't read after it, interact that there's going to be a Q&A. These are the things I'm going to get by coming. I sometimes will add, who should attend. And so you could say something like, if you have, 2 to 5 million of investable assets and aren't happy with the level of attention you're getting from your current advisor, or if you're approaching, the age to take Medicare and you're not sure about this and this, right? So you can be really specific in who should attend. And then when someone reads it, they can think, oh yes, this is for someone just like me.
I would do, if I'm working with business owners, right? I'd put business owners in the title, right? State of the Markets 2024 for business owners, right? Tell them what you want them to know and tell them again and tell them again.
Yes.
All right. So that is an example. And then promotion is one of the things as well that you're like, oh man, I schedule out all these emails and whatnot, and that's a lot of work. Well, within this tool, we have a promote button. And if you're utilizing one of our templates, we have pre-made email sequences and social media sequences that you can take advantage of. So here is an example of an email sequence that I've pulled up. So we're going to jump over here to my email, and it's 4 emails that we've set up. This is an example of one, and it fills it out for you. So these are pre-made templates, and you can come in and use them as is, or you can customize them and just says, hey, here's why you should attend. Easy register button right here. And here's another one of those emails that will go out. It's branded, it looks beautiful, and it will pull the exact event name, event location from your event. So you can easily promote these. So these are examples of some of those emails that are created for you. And then also social media. So we can easily blast these for email and social media. And then you can add the pizzazz if you want to add it to X or share it anywhere else.
Love that. And remember, if you're partnering with a center of influence or a subject matter expert, you have the landing page, you can easily give them that landing page and say, here's where to direct everybody when you're emailing your list, right? And then kind of the way typically we do it with partner webinars is, let's say you partner with a CPA. So he invites his email list, you invite your email list, and then whoever attends, you both get the list of names and you share it, so that both of you could follow up with attendees. Zoom also makes it easy. You can have something automated afterwards to say to people, would you like us to reach out to you about X, and automate that follow-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, follow-up is one of the most important pieces to all of this.
Yes.
All right. And that is the demo, unless anything in the questions that we need to double check. Otherwise, we'll keep rolling.
Yeah, I was going to say we can keep going because we have a few more things to get through.
Perfect.
Obviously, you went through that really fast. There's so many amazing things our platform can do, everything from the presentation itself to different content you can pull from. And then if you are, working with our Do It For Me program, because I see a lot of people asking for more hands-on help. That's what's so great about our Do It For Me program, is that your marketing strategist can actually help you get the landing pages put together, make sure all the emails look good and are ready to go, all that good stuff. So definitely check that program out. And at least I think you have to give me back the screen for me to
awesome.
and
here we
I
go.
think Blair can pop, in case anybody needs to jump off, she can pop the info on how to get in touch with our team if you're interested in learning more about that Do It For Me program into the chat.
Perfect.
I think if you just hit stop share, Elise, then I can.
And my toolbar went away. So one sec.
I hate when that happens.
I know. Here we go. And
see, even if you've been doing this a long time, sometimes things happen.
We do this 100 times over and over and over again, and sometimes it just goes away. And Blair, you can also,
since you're the organizer, you could probably stop making Elise the presenter, and then I can take it back. But while she's doing that, I just wanted to also say that in terms of people asking promotion, like what is the best way? Should we run ads on LinkedIn? Should we run ads on Facebook? There's the question, which of the platforms is best to run ads just in general? I think just keeping in mind that it's really hard for us to answer that question, knowing who your audience is. So you're going to know better than we are where your audience hangs out. And that is why it's so important to know your audience. So we did talk about this. I'm just going to go forward to this because a lot of you asked about this. So this was going back to that example from Isaac and creating a LinkedIn event page. So I just wanted to highlight this. One thing that you might find interesting, if you look at his past events, you'll notice that he had 3 essential steps to maximize your Intel surplus account, right? 3 essential steps to maximize your Nike deferred compensation plan, to maximize your Microsoft. So he got really specific with each event for specific companies he works with. So he specializes in financial advice for tech employees, But when he did these events, he put the name of the companies that he was trying to target in the event name for these 3 events, right? Got really, really targeted. And then he invited people he was connected to on LinkedIn that worked for those companies. So that really, really has been a strategy that has worked well for him without even needing to run ads. But you can also put money behind it and then have LinkedIn promote your ads to very specific audiences that you then choose. And again, if you're using LinkedIn to promote or Facebook or any of those other tools, you're still going to use Zoom to host the meeting. So don't get those things confused. Zoom would still be where you log in, you go live. These are just ways to promote and collect registrants. So we're not going to have a lot of time to get into the post-event repurposing content because we spent so much time with the strategy, which is great, but you are going to have all of these slides available to you. And we did go through this a lot in our platform, just sort of how it can look on your website, how you can email people and divide your list up. So we have all of that in there. One thing I did want to point out, if you're using a tool like Zoom, one of the things that's great is you can really identify who the best leads are because Zoom gives you a printout after every webinar and it will tell you how long each individual person was in the session, how engaged they were. So did they have a bunch of other screens up or were they just focused on you? Did they respond to your survey questions and what those responses are? Any questions they asked? So if you're trying to keep track of everything and you're feeling stressed, don't, because when you leave, you're going to get a download to say, okay, Roger Smith asked these specific questions and you can follow up with him post webinar and answer those questions that he asked. And then we got a question about this, like, should we make clips to repurpose the content? Absolutely. If you can download in Zoom, the file, upload it into a video editing tool. We really like Veed, but there's lots of other good ones out there. And then make a little clip and use that as, a 1 minute, 2 minute clip on social. But also don't feel like you have to. Going back to the example of Isaac, one of the things he mentioned was that he doesn't even have a YouTube channel where he hosts these. He's never reposted them on social media. He felt like it would be too intimidating to do all of that. So instead, he just said, I'm just going to start with webinars. I'm not going to let it prevent me to not be able to do all these other things afterwards. I just want to start with webinars. And once I get that, under my belt, then I'll continue on and add more. And I love that mindset because we, again, don't want, perfect to be the enemy of good and done. But once you've done some and you're ready to repurpose the content, you have all these files, even if it's months later, you can keep resharing them as great content. So if you're ready to get started with webinars, like so many of you said, make 2024 the year you do it. And if you partner with us, we would love to help you. Again, trying to start by doing what's easy, utilizing our system so that you have ready-made event pages, ready-made slide decks, ready-made scripts, more content always coming. And then even better, if you want to specifically work with somebody, a marketing strategist from our team through our Do It For Me marketing program. This is just one of the many things we would do with you, but you also would get an editorial calendar every single month and a custom marketing plan that is executed for you. So webinars could just be one part of that overall plan. We would love to connect with you if you would like to learn more. How are we doing on time, Elise? Oh, got a few minutes. Are there any questions?
We got it.
I saw Blair was in the back end was answering a lot of your questions. So hopefully many of you got them in the Q&A box answered, but were there any outstanding ones that we should answer for everyone to hear?
No, but we can go to that next slide. So if anyone does want information, they want to book a demo, learn more, our DIFM team will help you execute a webinar periodically. So definitely help there from execution standpoint. But get a demo if anyone's needing more information. But most importantly, I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with in the year coming up in 2024. So make sure to tag Sam and I in your events. We'd love to see everything that you have. If you need someone to tag and help promote it, we'd love to give you a like or a great comment on it as well.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for spending almost a whole hour of your afternoon with us. If you found this helpful, please tell us in the chat, or if there would be another particular webinar topic. Some people did mention Canva. If email, whatever it is that you'd love to have us do an educational session on next time. We'd love to hear from you. But thank you again. It was so nice to be back with everyone. Nice to see you, Elise, and hope everyone has a great beginning and future new year.
Yay. Thanks, everyone.